Alright, today's lecture is on measurements. Please make sure you date all of your notes. The learning objective for today is students will be able to understand the three common characteristics of matter and the units to measure them. So, first thing we're going to talk about is talking about units. Okay? Now, a unit is a part of a measurement that will tell us the scale or the standard that is being used to represent the results of that measurement. Now, I know that sounds like a wonderful definition, but let's just give an example. It's usually the best way to go about doing it. Okay, so a unit, let's go ahead and write down the definition. A unit is the part of a measurement part of the measurement telling us the scale. Okay, perfect example. If I said I have, well, I have 4 colored pens in front of me and 1 eraser. Okay, that's on the smartboard. But I need to have these statements. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened if I took that away. I have I have 4 and I have 1. Well, those don't mean anything. So I need to make sure that I have these parts of the measure that are going to tell me what I'm actually measuring. Now, there are 2 types of unit systems. We have the English system, which is what we use in this country, and we have the metric system, which everyone else uses. Now, in the metric system, we have units of mass, we have units of volume, and we have units of length. Okay, which, by the way, these are your 3 most common characteristics of matter that we're going to be dealing with in this class, or at least for the first few months. Okay, English, they don't have mass, we have weight, which is different than mass. I know a lot of people think they're interchangeable. They are not. Okay, English has volume and English has length. Okay, there are other units of measure. Um, there's time and there's density and um, there's a whole bunch of other chemical terms that we won't get into quite just yet, but they do exist. Now, what we need to realize is what are the difference in the units. So with mass, gram is our base unit, in which is indicated with a lowercase g. Volume base unit is liter. It's indicated with a capital L. And then length is meter, which is a lowercase m. Now it's important that you know that liter is capital L and length is lowercase m, because the opposites, lowercase l, means something completely different. Uppercase m means something completely different. So we need to make sure that we have the appropriate letters. Okay? When it comes to the English, because we don't have mass, we have weight, and we usually use pounds, which obviously makes perfect sense to use L and B to determine them, or to abbreviate them. Volume, we either use, fluid ounces, which we'd use ounces up here for weight as well. Okay, that's the smaller unit. Fluid ounces, or we use gallons, and quarts, and pints, and all those other cooking measurements, which most people use for cooking and for baking. Okay, and then length, we use feet, and we use mile, right? That kind of stuff. I'll tell you right now, other than this first unit where we're just discovering how stupid we are for still using the English units, you will not have to really deal with these after the first term or after the first unit. Okay? The main one we're going to focus on, mass, volume, and length. The first unit we're going to focus on is going to be volume. Okay? Volume is, by definition, okay, out of your book, the amount of three-dimensional space occupied by a substance. Okay, great little definition. I'd even shorten it up even more by saying the amount of space a substance takes up. So how much space does this object take up? So you have the textbook definition, you have more of my definition. Okay. Um, there's a couple different units that we're going to deal with. Okay. We had already been introduced to the liter. Okay. L-I-T-E-R. Or, depending on where you read it, it could be L-I-T-R-E. Okay. Same. Okay. I'll probably use this one more than not. And then the other one is cubic meter. But we won't use this one right here nearly as often. We will use this cubic centimeter a lot, but not so much cubic meter. Okay, so cubic centimeter is a unit of volume because you got to think there's three different types of substances out there, right? There's solids, there's liquids, and there's gases. Well, usually I will use liter or milliliter or centiliter or kiloliter or whatever type of liter unit I want, okay, or liter, even just the liter base unit. I'll use these with the liquids, okay, and the gases. So liquids and gases, I'll more likely use liter. But when it comes to solids, I'll use cubic centimeter. Okay, and I'll go ahead and show you why. If I was to draw a poor excuse for a cube, okay, now you guys have all in your geometry classes seen that if I want to try to find the volume of this cube, it's going to be length times width times height. Okay, in this case for this cube they'd all be the same. So let's say from here to here was 1.4 centimeters. So 1.4 centimeters, which means this is also 1.4 centimeters, and this is 1.4 centimeters. Remember, I always include my unit. I can't just say 1.4. That doesn't mean anything. Okay? So, if I want to find the volume of this, I would go 1.4 centimeters times 1.4 centimeters times 1.4 centimeters. Okay? When I do the numbers, okay, I'm going to end up with 2.7. So that's my number, but obviously my answer is not correct. Okay, what I'm going to need to do is give me my unit. Well, what's centimeter times centimeter times centimeter? Well, that's centimeters cubed. So this would actually be my answer for the volume of this. Okay, and that's the reason why we use cubic centimeters or centimeters cubed, or you may even see them as cc. Okay, that's how I get this unit. Okay, I get it from multiplying this by that, and that gives me my unit, and I multiply the numbers to get my number. It is, however, important to note that we will use milliliters almost as much as we'll use liters. So there is equivalencies and relationships between millimeters and millimeters and meters and milliliters and liters and kilometers and meters and all that stuff like that. And we'll get to that later. But for right now, just understand that there is one relationship that's going to make life a lot easier. Okay, and that is that 1 centimeter cubed is also 1 milliliter. Okay, this is a conversion or a relationship, an equivalency that you need to know. Okay, I'd say memorize, but you're actually going to store it in your long-term memory because you're going to be using this a lot. Okay, so our next is length. So in length, which is a distance value, okay, the distance from point A to point B, so to speak, we'll usually use meter, M-E-T-R-E, and yes, M-E-T-E-R. In this class, we'll use that one more often, okay? And just like there's milliliters and kiloliters, there's millimeters and kilometers. Now, this you're probably more familiar with because of your use of a ruler. Okay, many of you have used a ruler before that had both sides. You had the inches on one side. Okay, so you'd have on your ruler. On this side, you'd have, you know, 3. So okay, this would be a little higher, and then this one, this one, this one. They're not even. Okay, okay, as you can tell, they're getting bigger, but either way, you can tell, okay, this is 1 inch, this is 2 inches, this is 3 inches, okay, and then this would be 1.5, this would be 2.5, this would be 2.25, okay, and they'd be broken up into quarters because there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 sections in between each one, okay. Well, when it comes to a metric ruler, okay, when the side was centimeters, it doesn't matter what it is, you're always going to have 10. So if I have my metric ruler, this will be interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would be 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters. And then each one of these would be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1. 1.1, 1.2, all the way down. Okay, you will have practice with length as well when we start talking about accuracy and precision. Okay. Last but not least is mass. Now mass, where'd you go? There you go. Mass is the quantity, okay, quantity of matter in an object. Don't ask me why. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Now, this quantity of matter, what this matter stuff is, we'll talk about later, but you guys are aware of atoms. Okay? Protons, neutrons, electrons. The amount of atoms that we have in an object is considered its mass. Now, the unit that we use to measure is the gram. And guess what? There's only one spelling of this one. Okay? There's no... Nah. Don't worry about that. Gram. Okay? It is lowercase g. And just like the other two, there's milligrams and centigrams and kilograms and all that fun stuff. But usually we'll deal with grams. Okay? But later you will know how to convert grams to kilograms, then back to centigrams, and then to milligrams, and so pretty much do anything that I ask you to do when it comes to that, if you choose to be successful in this class. If you have any questions about any of this, please make sure that you just A, ask me in class, or B, you can type it in the comments below.